Hi grade 8, this is Mrs. Fell. Okay, we're going to look at distribution, but when there's a negative term in front of your bracket. So you used to now looking at a term over here and they've all been positive up until now. So the first lesson that you did, you had like a positive 2 distributing through there. The last lesson, we had more sets of brackets to deal with. And now I'm going to teach you what to do when you've got a negative sign in front of that number there. Okay, now exactly the same rules apply, so don't stress about that. You'll see that in your notes. But we have to watch our signs now. So what I'm going to recommend is in distribution, when it gets a bit more complicated, it's actually nice to ring that negative and the 2. And then I call these rainbow sums because you actually need to multiply the negative 2 onto both of the values, or 3 of the values, or 4 of the values inside that bracket. Okay, so we are going to say negative 2 times. Now, how do we know it's times? Because brackets mean times. Okay, so negative 2 times x. Times x, that's what's going to happen first. And then we're going to have a negative 2 times y. Okay, so negative 2 times x gives me negative 2x. And then I've got a negative 2 times y. So negative 2 times y gives me negative 2y. And then I've got unlike terms, so that is going to be my final answer. So no different, the rules are absolutely no different. So for example, number 1, it was just a straight value, negative 2, onto both of those terms. Okay, now we've got a negative 6. So exactly the same story, negative 6 multiplied onto the first one, and then we'll multiply it onto the second one. All right, I would always just put my fingers on these 2 values and then talk to yourself. When you're in a paper, you talk through it. You obviously can't talk out loud because then they'll think you're going nuts. All right, so we've got a negative times a negative, which gives me a positive. 6 times 2 gives me 12. And then we're going to stick the A on the back. So I think when they start getting a bit more complicated like this, it's a bit tricky to write this middle step. So I just prefer put your fingers on there, talk to yourself. If you're battling with a negative 6 times negative 2, you've got a calculator to help you. Now you're putting your fingers on these 2 terms. Now this is a negative 3b. So we've got a negative by a negative, which gives me a positive. 6 times 3 is 18. And we've got our b there. Can we add them? Are they like terms? No, they're not. Okay. Right, so there's your answer over there. Right, example 3. Now, this is a little bit different because I have got a negative 2x. There's my first variable that we're looking at. Then we've got 3 terms inside this bracket. And we're going to have to multiply the 2x, or the negative 2x, onto every single one of them. I cannot leave one out, okay? I always teach my classes that this is like driving through a drive-through. Your mom's sitting in the front of the car, there are 3 children in the back of the car, and you say, right, 2 of you can have an ice cream today, but I'm afraid the 3rd one can't. Okay, that's not going to work out well for the mom or the children. So we have to give an ice cream to everybody, okay? Right, so negative times a positive, which is invisible over there, is going to give me a negative. 2 times 3 is 6. Then what do we do with the little exponents here when we are multiplying? We add the exponents. Now remember, there's an invisible 1 there. So x to the 1 multiplied by x to the 2 is x to the power of 3. Right, then we are on our negative 2x times positive 2x. So it's a negative answer. 2 times 2 is 4. And then x times x is going to give you x squared. Right, last one. Negative times a negative is a positive. So grade 8's the biggest thing here is actually getting the signs right, because you've been dealing with these multiplying values already, but it's just these signs that are just getting a bit tricky here. So 2x times 1 is just going to be 2x. Now look carefully here. Any like terms? No, they're all unlike terms, so that will be your final answer. Excuse that without a ruler. Okay, grade 8, so those are your 3 examples. Now, those are the first three that you've got in your textbook, your exercise 9.7. So remember now, you're going to go and do exercise 9.7 in your textbook, okay? And the memo will come through a little bit later, and just put these answers into your workbook with number 1, 2, and 3, and then you can complete the rest. Okay, hope it goes well. Bye.